Hey y'all, I am back with Hip Kit Club process video using the April 2016 kits, and this video is for National Scrapbooking Day. So my challenge is DIY embellishments using kit leftovers, scraps, things from your stash, whatever. But I think the main thing that I'm showing here is how you can use your little scraps and different pieces that you may have left over in your kit. So the first thing I'm doing is something very similar that I've done recently, except recently I used the clear stickers that came in our April 2016 kits. But this time I'm going to use this sheet of rub-ons. Now you did see a couple of videos ago I did use the full sheet of rub-ons, one full sheet of rub-on for my layout, but this time I'm going to use that other sheet simply to just rub right onto white cardstock, and then I'm going to use my different punches and my scissors to cut these out in various sizes and shapes. And I'm going to take it a step further by layering these up and making clusters, and you guys will see that here in a little bit. So I'm simply, like I said, adding these onto white cardstock. Now I have some vellum sitting right next to me, and my thought was to use the vellum as well as the white cardstock, but I really loved the way that the color popped off of the white cardstock, so I decided not to go with the vellum. As I said, I'm just going to go ahead and rub all these onto the white cardstock, and I'm using, it's not even a rub-on tool. I don't even know what it is. It's like a little pierce. I think it's a brad tool, to be honest, but I'm using that because that was the closest thing I could find. For the flowers, what I'm doing is I'm going to fussy cut those, or some of them, because I do want to get the shape of the flower in these embellishments, and so I didn't want to use my circle punch for all of them. I do use them for some of them. For the smaller little icons, I'm using a little 3/4 of an inch circle punch, and that's by EK Success. Several of my punches I don't ever order punches. I don't know if anyone does, maybe from Amazon or some little online shops, but most of the time I just buy them at either Hobby Lobby, just like what they have available, or I go to Michael's and purchase mine too. So most of these are either going to be from Michael's or Hobby Lobby. This is a tab punch, probably my favorite punch out of all of my punches. I use that quite a bit, and I love that you can rub on little words or little phrases either using these or using your stamps, and you can use your tab punch just to punch that right out, and then you have a little piece of ephemera. So all of these pieces will turn into ephemera here in a second. So if the shape is a little bit more difficult to cut out, I'm obviously going to use a punch. If it's pretty easy to cut out, I probably will use my scissors. Now, for some of the smaller icons like the square or the or like I just cut out a little stamp image, those I'm going to use, I think that actually the square, I probably use or the stamp image, I think I use my scissors here in a second. I'm just going to continue doing that, and then for this longer border strip, what I did was I just took a couple of my punches, the ticket punch as well as the tab punch, and just kind of made my own little a piece of ephemera again. So now I'm just taking my various scraps from these April 2016 kits, and I'm just going to use my different punches and punch out different shapes and sizes. I've used my circle punches to punch semicircles and to punch whole circles. I've used my banner punch to punch, obviously, banners, and I'm going to use a few different punches, and I'll point those out as I go. That was the scallop punch, and I'm going to do half circles on those too. I'm going to punch out some tabs. And honestly, at this point, I don't really know where I'm going with this. I think that I'll probably just, as I go, layer them up and just see, where my mind goes. I don't really have any rhyme or reason to how many I'm cutting out at a time, or the colors that I'm using. I'm just kind of using my kit scraps and just going for it. And I think that's probably the best way to do it. If you take your scraps and you have them sitting out in front of you, just go ahead and punch a bunch of shapes. Throw away the pieces that you're not going to use. Like, don't put them back in your scraps if they're like little bitty pieces and they're all like cut into. You're probably not going to use them, and then they're just going to take up space. So that's kind of what I did, is I used the big chunks and I really tried to get the most out of it, and then I threw away the remainder or the remaining pieces. Here are some other things that I used. I used some pink circle, oh goodness, what are those dies? Some tag dies, some arrow dies. The pink circles and tag dies and the arrow dies. Some of those are from Avery Elle. And then I have a couple of little banner pieces from Lawn Fawn, I believe. And the hearts are from Lawn Fawn too. So now I'm just going to go ahead and layer these up. And this is probably the most fun part out of all of it. All you do is just grab your little icons that you created using your rub-ons at the very beginning, and then just start layering these little pieces up and just add things here and there. Now, when I cut my flowers earlier, I didn't know, how I was going to use them. And I wasn't quite sure if I wanted to use them as layering pieces, but the ones with the flowers, and I'll show you that here in a second, are probably my favorite ones. There are some really great things about having like flower and butterfly and heart punches, because they can really take you a long way. So like in this case, with my scraps, I was able to use the paper and punch some really pretty cute little shapes out, like the butterflies and the hydrangeas, and add those as a layering piece. Now here's probably one of my favorite ones, where I layered the flower behind that little ticket that says Better Together. And obviously all of these things that I'm using here are, if they have like words or they're the white cardstock, it's from the rub-ons. So I really love the way these turned out. So I'm just going to continue layering these up, and then I'm going to sew about half of them and show you how those turn out, and then I'm going to have some final photos. So just let me know if you have any questions. I'll be in the member forum from 6 to 7:30 Eastern time and 5 to 6:30 Central time. I was going to see if I could get that correct, but I think that is right. So just join me, and I hope you guys join in on the challenge too, and I hope you guys have a great week.